My name is Caretta Cook. I moved here about 2 years ago. I came here basically because I was having trouble finding a school for my son up north. And my godmother, she actually found Bradley for us. And I just love what they offered for the pre-K program. We've been here ever since. I want to make this our forever home, basically. So, and hopefully in a couple years that we'll be able to purchase a home here and truly say that we are part of a community, which I feel as though we already are. But I definitely want to be more involved. Whether I have a house or not, I want to have us stay here, basically forever, if possible. So I want to run for the board for several reasons, but my main reason is because of our students. My son, I want to make sure he and other students are getting the proper education that they need. I want all parents to know what exactly we offer in the schools. I want there to be one source of information for our parents to come to, especially parents who are not tech savvy. I want them to know every step, everything that we're doing every step of the way for our kids. I would love it for us to work out a monthly newsletter for our parents. I want them to have a question and answer form on our website. So, there's a lot of questions that different parents ask the same questions. So it would be great if we can have a forum where, this question was answered. This is where you can get the information from. This is who you should contact if you still have more questions. So basically, I just want us to be 100% transparent, boost up the communication, and I want to give our children the best possible future possible. The $5 million cut is only for 1 year. It's going to be a $25 million cut altogether. So we are going to carefully and creatively examine our budget that we have going now. We want to be able to reduce administrative operational costs without impacting on our students' programs that we have to offer. We also expect to focus on grant opportunities to fund important initiatives beyond what we're doing currently. The Asbury Park has a lot of wonderful programs that I don't think a lot of parents know about. That's why we want to really amp up our communication with the parents. I think that if they knew exactly the programs that we offer, they will definitely want to keep their kids in the district. Also, the charter schools, we pay them $10 million to educate our children. And then once they figure out that, okay, we can't help your child, they still, they'll keep the funding, the mandated funding, and then they'll send your child back without helping them. So we want to let parents know that we have the means for an IEP or the 504 plan. So it's just, better communication. I don't think the charter school is doing what we can do, because we have way more to offer for our kids, our parents. For the reopening plan itself, I think it's great. We're going to be slowly transitioning in. We're going to have an A-B schedule. Some kids are going to be coming in slowly on some days, like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the next week it's going to be the Tuesday, Thursday schedule. So there's not going to be much interaction between the kids, which is great. The schools were able to get a grant for the PPE for the staffing and also for the students as well, which I think is wonderful. But everyone should know too, with the technology, granted, it doesn't always work. So there's always, at least in this case, they provided a way for parents to contact Deborah McNesh from the Parent Center to get help with technology, especially if a parent or someone is not technology savvy.
My name is Joe Grillo. I'm a current member of the Asbury Park School Board. I've lived in Asbury Park for 15 years. I live on Cookman Avenue. And I've been involved in a lot of different initiatives and community efforts throughout the years. I'm the chairman of the Asbury Park Democratic Committee. I'm a co-founder of Asbury Park Dinner Table, which has distributed over 70,000 dinner meals throughout the city, and through private donations has collected over $200,000 in cash flow to businesses to help them kind of keep their employees employed. I've also been on the Asbury Park Zoning Board. I'm a member of the Asbury Park Green Team, and also volunteer for the Asbury Park Complete Streets Coalition. So the short answer is that you can't tax your way or cut your way out of these state funding cuts. The only way to address it is by growing your way out of these state aid cuts. What do I mean by growing our way out of it? It means that we have to increase enrollment. How do we increase enrollment? Well, we're starting to see it this year with an uptick in enrollment, and I believe that it'll continue in the future. But it's by making the school district more attractive to families to keep their kids in the school district, by promoting the Dream Academy, where students graduate with a high school diploma and an associate's degree from Brookdale, and expanding the career readiness programs that we have through allied health, through engineering, and this year we started a performing arts career track. Right now it's for the high school, but we're looking to expand it to 7th and 8th grade. So by making the schools more attractive, by continuing to incrementally increase literacy, because we have a successful literacy program, enrollment will go up, and that's really the most sustainable way to address these state aid cuts that are frankly draconian. And that's what Wendi Glassman, Caretta Cook, and I are planning for the school district. So I think charter schools. I'm 100% pro public schools. In Asbury Park, we have 3 charter schools that basically take away from our enrollment, and that has contributed to the decrease in enrollment for many years up until this year. This year, actually, enrollment has shot up a bit. We have to cut every year about a little over $10 million to give to the charter schools. These are privately owned, you can call them public, but these are privately run schools, and they get their pick. If they don't want a student because their grades aren't very good, or they have behavioral problems, they unceremoniously shift them off to the Asbury Park Public School, which we welcome with open arms, because our goal, our obligation, is to teach every student. And luckily, we have the resources available to teach everyone from a student that may be having learning disabilities to homework or work avoidance to a student that's on their way to going to a 4-year college. So charter schools, for me, seem to be an impediment to the greater school district, and has contributed to $10 million that we have to cut away every year. So this is really, this question is great in terms of what we've done when COVID first hit, and what we plan to do. And really what Asbury Park has done is a model for urban school districts, not just in New Jersey, but throughout the country, because we took a slow, methodical, thoughtful approach to what our quote unquote reopening plan would be, which eventually became an all virtual first month of school, right? So one of the things with having a school district like Asbury Park, where a large portion of the student population is underserved, below the poverty line as well, is that connectivity is a big important factor in virtual learning. So 55% of the student population in Asbury Park did not have reliable Wi-Fi at home, like consistent, reliable Wi-Fi where they could connect right away and there's no problem. So what we did was, well, two things. One thing that we did was we made sure that every student that needed a Chromebook had the opportunity to receive one from the school district, to the point where teachers were tracking down students that didn't pick up their Chromebooks to give them their Chromebook so that way they could learn. But more importantly, after we did that, there was the issue of connectivity. And so we went out and were awarded a federal grant over $1 million to purchase Wi-Fi tablets, Wi-Fi devices, and then we distributed all those Wi-Fi devices to every household, well, every student that needed, that had connectivity issues at home or lack of connectivity. This is something that's really important because in urban school districts, compared to suburban school districts, wealthier school districts, there's what's called the digital divide. And it's something that on a good day, you're looking at some pretty severe kind of separation between achievement and not achieving. With COVID, that kind of brought the digital divide to the forefront. And so we took action as a school district and as a school board to make sure that we were able to bridge that digital divide. Now that we're in the school year, part of the plan was to go all virtual, which we did for 1 month. Now we're starting to slowly and carefully re-enter the students into the school building, starting with the English learning language students, those that have developmental disabilities and learning disabilities that need that critical one-on-one teacher to student contact, bringing them into the classrooms in person. And now we're starting to do pods of classes that are starting to re-enter. The whole point of being methodical and slow about this is to follow the science, follow the data, and to make sure that if, God forbid, there's an outbreak, the school and the students are ready at the drop of the hat to pivot back to all digital learning. And I think we've done a really great job in not only implementing virtual and hybrid learning, but also keeping our students safe, keeping our staff safe, and making sure that they continue learning, even if it was remotely for 1 month.
Hi, my name is Wendi Glassman. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present myself to the community as I seek a seat on the Asbury Park School Board. In my view, a Board of Education is charged with responsibilities and stewardships to serve and protect our most vulnerable resources, our children, our community, and our city's financial stability. The city's future depends in part on the decisions that we make. I believe that I bring skills, insight, and energy to serve the community well in this role. I'm the fourth generation of my family to live in Asbury Park. Dating back to the 1920s, my great-grandparents and grandparents had their businesses here, and my mother graduated Asbury Park High School. I'm a product of the public schools and passionate about public education. My goal is a quality education for the children that's fiscally sound, transparent and accountable, innovative, and recognizes the financial burdens that board decisions create for the public. In college, in addition to a dual major in economics and philosophy, I studied secondary education. I did student teaching in the Baltimore public schools prior to obtaining 2 law degrees. As a lawyer at a large bank for almost 40 years, I was one of the first women in senior management. I handled all legal matters, managed a large budget, and played an integral role in the development and execution of enterprise-wide strategic plans. I dealt with crises, downsizings, financial losses and risks, pandemic planning, and major changes to the business model. My experience includes working with regulators, monitors, and finding ways back to stability and success. I retired in 2018 as the bank's vice chairman. Since retiring, I volunteer my energy and knowledge here. I am the president of the Sunset Lake Park Conservancy and serve on the Mayor's Wellness Committee. 2 years ago, I brought an idea to the superintendent for the Conservancy to bring a wildlife program for the 3rd grade summer STEAM program. Collaborating with great partners and outside funding, we put together a phenomenal hands-on 6-week program. The joy and wonder for these kids was magical. The children in our schools are engaged, they're hungry to learn and experience new things. They're responsive, as are their teachers. As a lawyer, I developed keen analytic skills and a methodical approach to identifying the essence of an issue and how to help craft appropriate solutions. The challenges I surmounted and my successes in the private sector and what I have learned so far and will continue to learn through these volunteer opportunities will help inform my positions on how to best serve our children and community. The district must deal with so many challenges that other districts do not face just to be able to teach and for the children just to be able to learn. The Dream Academy, the career readiness programs in allied health, engineering, and public safety, and the literacy and social emotional learning and counseling programs must be expanded. We can do more. I know so many people in the community who want to volunteer and support the children in their development and share opportunities that they have not or otherwise might not have encountered. In the next 3 years, the Board of Education must make and oversee the execution of financial and strategic decisions of unprecedented scope that will define the school district's future. As everyone knows, the school district is set to lose more than $24 million in state funding over a 6-year period. The legislation that set the formula for these cuts is draconian and unfair. I urge every person to express their concern and outrage and work towards an amendment or repeal. But for now, it's our burden to address these funding cuts in thoughtful, responsible, compassionate ways that do not simply pass the burden on to our taxpayer. On top of these cuts, the school district must bear the costs of this pandemic. We do not know its duration. We do not know all of its health and social consequences or costs. There are so many questions that the scientists and public health officials and educators have yet to understand. All of these questions are new, information is evolving, and our school district must be responsive, must make the best decisions with available information, and be ready to pivot when the science provides new and different answers. We need a strong federal response to support the cost of the pandemic to the schools and the education for our children. Our district made the smart and very difficult decision to start fully remotely. The district had neither the resources or assurances of the public health officials that in-person learning could be conducted safely, nor the support of the families to send their children into the classroom. The board and the administration well understood that this pandemic highlighted the inequities in our community and the strain that remote learning would put on children and families. But I believe that, although not being privy to the internal deliberations, the district has made every effort to get families the equipment and connectivity and support that's needed and provided professional development to the teachers to allow them to teach as best they can under very difficult circumstances. Remote learning is not ideal for anyone, regardless of socioeconomic situation. But from what I've seen from the sidelines, I believe the district is a model of responsiveness to the student and families. I and my running mates, Caretta Cook and Grillo, have specific plans and programs in mind to continue to reduce operating and administrative expenses while at the same time supporting and adding quality programs. Our mailings to all voters outline these in detail. Some of our ideas will evolve as we see the course of the pandemic and the federal and state response. As just one example, while our school enrollment is low but growing, We may need to use all of our facilities to properly distance children if we want to bring them back into the classroom, whereas the current plan has closed the Obama school. We do want to communicate and publicize the growth and development of our students and the programs the district offers. We want more children to come into the district because of the programs we offer. The families need to know the success stories we have to tell, and then the confidence that their children will be educated and secure will follow. I believe that if we communicate our successes better, publicize the career, technical, vocational, and college prep courses better, we can bring more children into our public schools. And with that, we won't lose children to the charter schools. Those schools do not have many of these programs to offer. I believe we have the teachers and programs and better discipline to meet the concerns that parents have expressed about why they choose a charter school. We pay over $10 million from our budget to support the charter schools that have less oversight from and do not answer directly to our community. Charter schools are often products of large corporate entities and have different metrics driving them. They can be effective, but I believe the charters in Asbury Park are not as effective as our public schools and are an unnecessary diversion of money, families, and students. I hope to see more children returning to our public schools. To accomplish all of what we in the board has set out with limited resources will require sound, short and long-term vision, astute strategic planning, fiscal restraint, creativity, and an efficient execution. I believe it is the role of the board to lead, to set a vision and a tone that allows for the administration's execution of a sound educational program. The day-to-day management of the program is the job of the superintendent and her staff. I will work to strengthen the board's platform to help guide and support a strong administration, bring rigor to strategic planning and reviews, help set clear and unequivocal expectations and standards, regularly assess professional and financial performance, and share those results publicly, and pledge to make smart, solid decisions based on community input. Despite the funding shortfalls ahead, I will work to build on the existing programs and offer new initiatives that help our children get on a path to success, however they may define those goals. I will work to turn the school district's financial challenges into an opportunity to rethink our physical footprint, staffing, and costs. I know that by holding ourselves accountable and with community support, we can bring the district to new levels of excellence at a cost acceptable to all. Thank you for your time.